What happens when you stop being available all the time? It might sound simple, but this question touches something raw, something real, because so many of us are running on empty, constantly responding, constantly reachable, constantly on. We text back before we even finish thinking. We pick up the phone while our heart is exhausted. We say yes when our body is quietly begging for a no. Why do we do this? Because we've been conditioned to believe that being a good person means being always available. But what if that's not true? What if always being available is the very thing that's keeping us from becoming who we really are? Today we're going to explore that. Through the lens of Carl Jung's wisdom, we'll look at what changes inside and out when you begin to pull back, when you step away, when you make space for yourself. And you might be surprised because what you find in that space is power. Let's begin. We live in a culture that rewards immediacy. Respond fast. Show up always. Be there, no matter what. It's subtle, but powerful. The belief that if you're not available, you're not valuable. But this mindset comes at a cost. Carl Jung believed that when we deny parts of ourselves to meet external expectations, those parts don't disappear. They go into the shadow. And in that shadow lives our resentment, our fatigue, our suppressed anger, the smile we fake while we feel overwhelmed, the of course we say when every cell in our body wants to say, not today. Jung would argue that when we are always available, we are not present. We are fragmented. Our attention is scattered, our energy is pulled, and our sense of self slowly erodes. You become a person who is there for everyone, except yourself. You're online, but not alive. You're responsive, but not rooted. This is the quiet disease of constant availability, and the cure begins with space. Carl Jung taught that we all wear a persona, a social mask, crafted to gain acceptance and avoid rejection. It helps us function in society, but when we cling to it too tightly, we lose touch with who we really are. People-pleasing is one of the most deceptive masks of all, because on the surface, it looks like kindness, but underneath, it's often fear. Fear of disappointing others, fear of being disliked, fear of being alone. So we overextend. We smile when we're hurting. We show up when we need to rest. We say yes to things that quietly feel like betrayal. Jung called this kind of repression the beginning of inner conflict, because every time you abandon your needs for the comfort of someone else, you send a signal to your deeper self, I don't matter. But here's the truth Jung would want you to hear. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And you can't become who you truly are if you're always performing, pleasing, or proving. To reclaim yourself, you have to confront the shadow, that part of you that you've been taught to hide, your boundaries, your anger, your need for space, your voice that says, this is too much. And here's the paradox. When you stop betraying yourself to make others comfortable, you don't become less loved. You become more real. And real connection only begins when the performance ends. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps more people discover these ideas. And if you're enjoying this journey into the mysteries of the mind, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, back to the video. So what actually happens when you stop being constantly available? At first, you might feel guilty. You may worry about what others will think. You might fear you'll be forgotten or replaced. But then, something shifts. You begin to notice who really respects your time and who was only there for convenience. You stop getting caught in every little crisis. You stop being the emotional sponge for everyone's chaos. You stop saying yes just to avoid discomfort. And slowly, you start to breathe again. Carl Jung believed that individuation, the journey of becoming your true self, requires separation from the collective, even just for a while. You step back, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. And in that space, your clarity returns. Your values resurface. Your energy begins to rebuild. People may push back, they may not understand. But the ones who matter won't just respect your boundaries. They'll grow because of them. When you withdraw, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You realize that being constantly reachable doesn't make you more connected. It makes you more consumed. And when you finally stop being consumed, you can be fully you. There's a moment, after the noise fades, after the guilt softens, when something inside you begins to stir. It's the sound of your real self finally being heard. When you stop being available to the world, you become available to you. You start to notice how tired you really were, how often you swallowed your needs, how little silence there was in your life. And in that silence you come home. Jung wrote of the self, the integrated, whole version of you. Not the mask, not the shadow, but the full, conscious union of your thoughts, instincts, feelings, and soul. You don't find the self in crowded calendars or constant replies. You find it in stillness. When you say, "Not now," to the world, you say yes to yourself. You begin choosing what aligns with you, not what pleases others. You become more rooted, more discerning, more deeply alive. This isn't selfishness, this is self-respect. Because when you are deeply connected to your inner life, you show up in your outer life with more presence, more wisdom, and more power. And the people around you feel the difference. So ask yourself, honestly, quietly, who am I when I stop trying to be everything for everyone? What do I discover in the spaces where no one is asking anything of me? Carl Jung believed that the journey inward is not a retreat from life, but the beginning of real, conscious living. And that journey often begins the moment you say, no more chasing, no more explaining, no more availability at the cost of your soul. Let people feel your absence so they can finally feel your worth. Let your boundaries become your healing. Let your silence become your power, because when you stop being available to the world, you start becoming available to truth, to depth, to you. If this message stirred something in you and you're ready to come back to yourself, subscribe to this channel for more videos on boundaries, inner peace, and the wisdom of Carl Jung. Share your thoughts in the comments. What have you learned from stepping back? What changed when you stopped being constantly available? And if someone you love is burning out from always showing up, send this to them. Let them know it's okay to rest. Because the moment you choose yourself, everything begins to change. See you in the next video.